Well, I love that music. What's up? What's up, White House fans? Welcome to another round of White House World. I'm your host Fred Barnett with my co-host Michael Timpson and the Irving Fryer. Y'all see,
Hey,
you
hey.
see, I got a little sweater on, so you know I'm not in Bermuda. I'm in Philly. I'm in chilly Philly.
Jelly
I'm in
Philly.
chilly Philly.
You got,
Irv, I should have came to the house, man, and,
yes,
and
you
and
should have
did the
came
show.
to the
Which
house. You could have sat right over there.
should
We
have
could have
came to the
put you
house.
on, yeah, nice mic and all, and get all those lights out of your glasses. You know, you got the light shining in your
Yeah,
glasses. Get a little
yeah.
better picture. But it's all right. You're good. You're close by. I can feel you.
There
I
you
feel
go.
you too, bro. I feel you too. What's up, Mike?
You got the
Mike, Mike,
fireplace
Mike,
going?
you're in the
You
good
got the
weather.
Fireplace.
No, I
fireplace
don't have
going?
a fireplace.
It ain't that hot
I
yet.
got
I
it.
mean, it ain't that cold yet.
It ain't that cold
I'm
yet?
in,
Oh,
I'm
No,
not
in
not yet.
yet.
South Philly. I'm in South Philly. We bought a little Airbnb in South Philly about a year ago. So this is where I roost when I come to the city. What an
You get
interesting
your
weekend,
cheesesteak?
guys.
You get your
Huh?
cheesesteak? You get your cheesesteak?
I don't eat I don't eat cheesesteak no more, man. I can't
What?
digest it like I used to.
Oh Lord,
Okay.
No, I
you got
can't
Okay.
stomach
digest it like I
problems?
used.
You got
No,
stomach problems?
I got age problems. I got age problems. See, it's getting to a point now. I have to eat dinner around 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I can't eat late no more. My wife is Italian, so she's always cooking 9, 10 o'clock at night. Serving
Wow.
pasta and all that stuff. I can't do all that, man.
Y'all need to
Got
have
to
a
do that
family
with the
meeting,
kids.
man. But they're cooking late at nighttime. You're not old, Fred. What are
Telling you,
you, 50 years old, 52 years old? What?
I'm 57. I think I'm. How old am I? I'm 57. Yeah. Big
Yeah.
5'7", man. I
Yeah.
don't feel it though. You know what? I feel it in my knees, and that's it. That's
Really?
it. I
Yeah.
wish. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
The Lord
But
has
what an
blessed
interesting
me.
weekend, guys.
Yeah. It
What an
was,
Yes,
interesting
sir.
weekend.
yeah, we had some
We
good
had
Every
plenty
stuff
last
some
going
one of
good
on.
and
them.
bad. And we got the usual topics, but of course, but not the usual suspects. We got top teams, biggest surprise, best performance, top wideouts, and Thursday night. Let's get it kicked off. Let me
Mm-hmm.
see. Eeny,
Mm-hmm.
meeny, miny, mo. Michael Timpson, what's up? Let's get that top team, bro. And,
I
and
thought
you
you had
better
a
be right.
rhyme.
Come on.
And you better be
Wait,
right.
wait, wait.
You better
All
be
right.
right.
You ready?
This is a quiz.
I,
This is a test.
The top team of this week. Remember that this week, Fred, not the whole year.
I
Oh Lord. Lord have
Got to make
mercy.
sure you get you right. Okay.
Who
Top team, the Houston Oilers.
Houston Oilers.
Houston
why?
Texans. Houston Texans
Why?
over the Tampa Bay
He said
Buccaneers.
it, Houston.
You know what? You know what? No, I knew who it was.
Yeah,
But here's the thing.
yeah.
Houston, I mean, I
Talk.
watched that game. And for
Yeah.
that rookie to go out and throw for 470 yards and 5 touchdowns,
Mm-hmm.
two different
Mhm.
receivers had over 100 yards. I mean,
Three
for them
three
to,
different
to,
receivers
to
had over 100 yards.
I mean,
Three.
two. Was it
With
three? Okay.
tight end
I think it
two.
was two.
Three. It was
Okay.
three.
Well, okay.
Tight Schultz had over 100 as well.
Yeah.
He's a tight end
So
though.
so not only that, they got the running back kicking field goals. I mean, it was just an overall team effort. And for me, that was just the performance of the week for me. And here's the thing that's interesting about the quarterback. I mean, everybody's like, okay, this guy's pretty good. And so I had a chance to really look at him. Do you realize this guy's only thrown one interception? He
Mm-hmm.
took the ball 4 minutes left in that game and drove the ball down the field. And
Mm-hmm.
you think about a
Like,
rookie quarterback, he's going to make a mistake, particularly 4 minutes to go. They're going to make a mistake. This
Right.
guy did not turn the ball over. And like I said, he's only turned the ball over one time, interception this year. This year. And
Mm-hmm.
so my hat's off to the Houston Texans for putting up a really good game against, hey, Tampa Bay. You always think Tampa Bay, you always think defense. But right now, their coach on the hot seat down here in Florida. They're saying this might be it for him.
It's double hot because it's hot
hmm.
in Florida. Angelo
Double
Ortiz
hot
is
earth.
watching us. Angelo Ortiz is on with us right now. So shout out to Angelo, y'all.
Okay. All
Angelo,
right,
what's
Mr.
up?
Angelo.
What's up, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Ortiz? Does
Mr.
does does
Ortiz.
Angelo agree with that?
I don't know. He just saying getting old,
Oh no,
gentlemen.
yeah.
He just said getting
Getting
old,
old, yeah, we're
gentlemen.
getting old.
Yeah, we getting
All right,
old.
I have to be a little biased,
Of course.
and and because here's what I think happened. I think Philadelphia Eagles was the top team this week. Let me tell you why. I really think that Dallas was the best Dallas team that they could beat. And we got a good Dallas team this past weekend. Dak threw for 300, almost 400 yards, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns. If you would have given me Dallas's statistics,
Mm-hmm.
especially Dak, and said, okay, here's what their statistics is going to be. Here's what his statistics is going to be. I would have said, oh, they're in trouble. The Eagles are in trouble. CD Lamb had 11 catches. And boy, Irv, you mentioned CD when we first started. I'm like, man, I
Right,
don't know
right.
about
Yeah.
good Lord, dude. This cat,
CD's a
I
bum.
don't know if it's he can ball. He can
Mm-hmm.
ball.
I
And
told y'all that.
they got great schemes for him and he's a dog. He's a dog. I mean, he didn't have a touchdown, but he had 11 receptions, 191
Oh,
yards, almost 200
I'm
yards.
I'm gonna talk about that later, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Almost 200 yards. They didn't have, of course, they didn't have 100 yards rushing, but with Hurts only throwing for 207 yards, they had 109 rushing, and the receivers didn't do much, although they had a touchdown apiece. I think from a team perspective, the Eagles did exactly what they needed to do to win this game. Or, was it Dallas who didn't do what they should have done to win this game? So I have to put my hat off to the Eagles with getting the best Dallas team, I think, this year and beating them.
Can I comment on that? Vincent Capriati's watching Richard Melton. Richard Melton said, all I got to say is here we go again. He was with us last week. Richard comes on. He's our heckler every week. He's our in-house heckler.
Is Richard the Bills fan?
Yeah, he's the Buffalo Bills fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like, here we go again.
We're getting to know you. We're getting to know you, Richard.
So Fred, I mean, to a certain extent, I agree with you simply because the Eagles won that game. And on the other hand, Dallas oftentimes seem to find a way to lose games, to shoot themselves in the foot. One, Dak Prescott, you saw how he ran out of bounds on the 1 yard line, the 2-point conversion. He didn't have to run out of bounds. Brandon Graham, he's already passed. No. I want you to go back. I want you to go. Are you gonna let me talk? I want you to go back and watch the film. Watch that game again and watch that play.
Okay.
He was already in front of Brandon Graham. He didn't have to keep running towards the pylon. Just cut off the angle. And if he did push you, he's going to push you into the end zone. So,
all right, let me say something. Let me say this. You got a cornerback in front of you. You getting ready to run your best route, and you get jammed up.
That ain't never happened.
The next time, we're talking in general. The next time you get up and he shows you press coverage, you're going to think twice. And what I'm saying is this. No, he didn't have to run out of bounds, but the pressure they have been putting on Dak, he was conscious of them. He was more conscious of that defense, which, in my opinion, forced him out of bounds.
When you're
no, he didn't have to run out of
man, no. He's supposed to be conscious of putting that ball across the goal line, even if he had to put his shoulder. You see how he put his shoulder down and did the whole whirlybird thing before.
Dak Prescott.
Man, well, again,
we're talking about Dak Prescott.
Well, again,
you can't.
Boom.
That doesn't make Eagles the best team. The Eagles in the fourth quarter, the Eagles only had 12. They only mustered up 12 yards offensively. The last two times they had the ball in their hands, they gave the ball back 3 and out twice to the Dallas Cowboys.
And at the end of the day,
at the end of the day, the Eagles won, but it was more because
they should have lost that game
because Dallas was shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
because you
should have lost that game.
Like, okay, who wants the game? Who wants the game? It came down to that. I was asking myself, okay, who's?
Then they had a butt fumble too. What is that?
Oh yeah.
that could have turned into a nasty result, turning the ball over right there. So they weren't, when the game was on the line, they really didn't put their foot on the gas and put that game away. Couldn't run the ball there in the last fourth quarter. And understand this too. They are getting away with a vanilla offense. And I'm an Eagles fan. But I went back and watched that game because I'm trying to figure out how in the Holy Ghost, I almost cussed, how in the Holy Ghost, the last 2 weeks they've had 800 yards of passing against that defense. How in the world does an average quarterback like Sam Howell throw last week for more yards against the Eagles than any other quarterback threw for that week? He's an average quarterback. All those great quarterbacks in the NFL, and then Dak comes and does what he does this week, and guys are just wide open. CeeDee Lamb is wide open. He averages like 17 yards a catch in that game, and he doesn't have any help on the other side. How does that happen? So I went back and I watched both of those games again, and I counted. I marked when they were rushing 4, and I marked when they rushed more than 4. And 85% of the time, they're only rushing 4 guys. And at the forefront, when they rush from the same place, going in the same. They don't even do any twists or any games or anything with the 4. So what's happening is it's vanilla. When you watch the Eagles, their offensive line, when they run an offensive play, you see the lineman pointing, this one, that one, that one, that one. Kelsey's doing that all the time. Our defensive front doesn't make an offensive line do that at all because they're coming from the same place, the same 4, 85% of the time. So it's easy for the quarterback. There's nothing for the quarterback to have to think about. It's the same thing all the time. So all he has to do is know what the route combination is, and they're going to know where the holes are. That's why they're able to get the ball out so quick.
So it's confusing that they're 8-1. That's what you're saying.
Yes, it is, because they're very extremely vanilla on offense. That's why they're getting all those yards passed on them.
Why do they need to put a memo out to the league then?
I mean, vanilla on defense. Vanilla on defense. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But the thing is, I feel like to some degree, the cornerbacks especially, they kind of depending on the defensive line to get pressure.
I think that's what the
coordinator. It seems like they're shadowing every time. They always shadowing receivers and not really, man to man, hip to hip with receivers.
They're not covering anybody. They're not covering anybody. Cats are wide open in that secondary. Big windows. They're catching big balls, and we're gonna if they don't correct that, because they play they play Kansas City after this bye. They got a bye this week, but they're going to Kansas City. They're gonna have a problem.
I told you before. Look at both your coordinators. They're new. I told you this at the beginning of the year.
Sure.
It's going to show up.
Well, I think one of the problems also, Mike, is they've had 8 different starting defensive backfields all season long. They've had multiple injuries, and they haven't had the guys haven't been able to play and develop a cohesiveness between the defensive backs. Hopefully this week off, and they'll get a little bit better and not depend on the defensive line to try to get there as much as they are on the coverage. Yeah. So
Herb, who we got? What you got? Go ahead.
My team of the week. It's my team of the week.
Yeah.
Is the Minnesota Vikings. You're gonna say what?
you just let me.
let me explain.
let me get it out.
let me explain. Let me explain. Lucy, let me explain. So they won 4 games. There was a 4-game winning streak. They won 4 games in a row. Cousins is gone down. The new quarterback. Yep, he's gone. Hall is in. Hall goes down in the first quarter. Then who comes in? Joshua Dobbs. He just the aeronautic astronaut, whatever he is. He had only been there for 5 days. He had not taken any offensive snaps at all, not even in practice. And he comes, and it was ugly at first. It was ugly. This team, I say it's the team victory, because the team, after all that happened and he got off to a rough start, they could have said to themselves, okay, this is not going to work. We're done. They could have just given up. But they fought, man. This kid, 3 TDs. He's thrown 3 TDs in back-to-back games on 2 different teams. 31-28 win over the Falcons. They traded for him from Arizona 5 days before the game. He comes in, he started off rough, but he threw 3 TDs in a comeback win. He went 20 for 30, passing for 158 yards, 2 TDs, and he rushed for 66 yards and a TD. So the team could have given up on him, but they didn't. They could have said, you know what, this is the new guy. This ain't going to happen. We're going to win this game. He comes in, watch this. He's a 4th-round pick from the Steelers, 2017 from the Steelers. Didn't make his first start until week 17 in 2022 season with the Titans. And since then, Dobbs has been traded twice and made 11 starts with 3 different teams. Hall went down in the first quarter. Dobbs got sacked. He got sacked for a safety on his third play from scrimmage. He got sacked for a safety on his third play from scrimmage. So they really could have, this ain't gonna work. This is not gonna work.
Yeah.
Then he was sacked again and fumbled the ball away. So the second half, he lost another fumble on the opening drive in the second half. But this kid comes back in the fourth quarter, has a 75 yards to go. They're behind, and a little more than 2 minutes to go. 24 yards to Addison. He throws the ball, and they converted a 4th and 7 on a 22-yard run that he made. Then 2 plays later, with 22 ticks left on the clock, Brandon Powell, 6-yard TD. This kid, hats off to the team for rallying around him. He didn't really know what he was doing. He didn't know nobody's name on the team, let alone know what the plays were. And he comes in and rallies the team like that. And it was a team effort. It wasn't just him. It was them picking him up and carrying him, executing plays, holding him down.
Yep.
I'm sure they had to encourage him because it was ugly at first when he got in there. And I'm sure not just the team, but the fans and everybody was watching thought that this was going to be a lost cause. But man, somehow, some way they were able to get it together, come together, and put something together to be able to win that game. That's my team of the week, the Minnesota Vikings. That was an awesome win.
It was an awesome win. And as you mentioned, for a kid to come in, with turmoil. I don't want to say turmoil, but with the team in the condition that they're in.
Right.
With the starting quarterback out, the guy comes in, after him, and he goes out. Now it's all the pressure. The world is on your shoulder. I guess. So do we really know how Zach Wilson feels?
Well,
this guy here said, "Hey, pressure, no, I'll take it. Let's see what we can do."
But hats off to the Vikings because the Vikings were 1-4. Now they're 5-4. They went on a 4-game winning streak.
But see, here's the thing that's funny about the guy Dobbs. I've watched him play a little bit this year and last year.
Mm-hmm.
When the guy gets in, he makes stuff happen.
It's
not pretty, but he makes stuff happen. And here's the thing: I saw when they traded for him, I thought that was a good trade in a sense that he was going to come in and be the starter. I was surprised that when they brought him in, they were going to start the guy Hall. I thought they brought him in to be a starter. That was surprising to me. Mm-hmm. And for him to just, I got to go in, let me make something happen. And I heard somebody make this point about him. He's been to 5 different teams. Mm-hmm. So at some point, you would like to think that the fact that he didn't know this playbook, he's had enough playbooks,
right?
that
something crossed over. and he was able to relate and make some plays.
And if I'm not mistaken, he beat the Dallas Cowboys when he was with Arizona.
Right.
Yeah,
But
28-16.
But you know what, Mike? There might be some truth to what you're saying about them bringing him in to be a starter. I'm sure he had just gotten there that Wednesday, so he wasn't going to start that game.
No, he wasn't going to start.
Maybe they had to start Hall until they got him, familiar with the playbook, and then move him up into the starting position.
Looking at it now, not necessarily.
He defeats that argument now. Yeah, that argument is kaput because he's going to be starting next week.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't have to worry about that.
Hall had a concussion, so he may not even be ready for next week.
Right. Okay. Well, all right, Joshua Dobbs.
Joshua Dobbs. Hey, Joshua Dobbs, you got to hand it to him. All right, biggest surprise, Dr. Irvin Fryar. Who we got, boss?
I'm just going to add to what Mike was saying about the Texans. C.J. Stroud. I love him. He's going to be a formidable quarterback for years to come. Second overall pick this past draft. He set a single game rookie passing record for 470 yards and 5 TDs. That was a surprise to me. It was a game winning drive. 6 lead changes in that game, 2 in the final minute of the game. 3 TD passes for 20 plus air yards. He threw 3 TD passes that were in the air for longer yards than 20 yards. 4 different wide receivers caught TDs. Noah Brown, 6 for 154. Dalton Schultz, tight end, 10 for 130. Tank Dell, 6 for 114. Mike mentioned those. That happened. That was the first time that ever happened in franchise history. That three receivers eclipsed 100 yards. And the exclamation point, it was a 40-second, 75-yard drive to win the game. That was that was crazy. 40 seconds, 75 yards to get there, and he and did it. C.J. Stroud, rookie. This is a rookie now.
Now we're gonna find out what they made of, because now they have to go to Cincinnati to play this week coming up. So we'll find out whether they're for real or not. They can take that game, that momentum, and go into Cincinnati and play well. We'll see.
Yeah, he's balling. He's balling. But that's my surprise of the week. He threw the most yards this week in the league.
Yeah, he's a top QB this year. This week.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, like you said, to be a rookie and to do that is just. I don't want to say astonishing, but the second pick in the draft, you kind of expect a little more consistency, but to have those numbers is amazing, and he's going to grow.
And what's so transformative about it is that there are a lot of these quarterbacks, young black quarterbacks, young agile quarterbacks who aren't your typical 6'4", 6'3", stand in the pocket, throw the ball quarterbacks.
True.
They're agile. They're just over 6 foot. They're mobile. They can run. They can throw, and they're great athletes. And they are transcending the NFL. They are changing the NFL into a different type of game where you have to have that kind of quarterback as an alternative or as another option offensively.
Okay. Both of you are GMs. Who do you take, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young?
Ooh, that's a tough choice, man. That's tough. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of them. But I mean, I would take Bryce doesn't have much help right now. I would take Stroud. I would take Stroud. He seems a little bit more ahead and a little more developed than Bryce Young right now.
Okay. All right, my surprise, and you know what? This really hurt me. I really thought that Bill Belichick would have figured out a way to beat the Commanders. I swear to you, I thought that.
Howell threw for a whole bunch more yards against them, didn't he? He was killing them.
I know.
Don't sleep on Howell.
Howell was killing them.
But you know what? I just thought that somehow, some way, Bill Belichick would rub this football genie and somehow pulled out, what they did against Buffalo, and that, okay, Washington. I'm like, all right, Washington, New England, okay, New England pull it off. They'll get that. No, sir. No, sir. And the Patriots are 2-7. When did you ever think the Patriots? I mean, you guys were on the Patriots. When you ever 2-7? Were you ever 2-7?
Yeah, we were 2-14 before.
Oh, you guys. Your guys played when y'all had them red
bad teams. Yeah, we went to the Super Bowl. I went to the Super Bowl, but after that it was downhill. But you know what? I believe Belichick has overstayed his welcome in the NFL.
He's the highest paid coach.
Huh?
Wow.
I think he's the highest paid coach, right?
Well, that doesn't matter. I think he
has. I'm just saying.
I think the athletes today, are different than the athletes were when we played, and you have to be able to relate with them. You have to be able to connect with them. You have to be able to earn or gain their trust. And I think Belichick isn't able to do that anymore. However, he was able to do it with. He might not have been able to do it even when Brady was there, because Brady was the leader of that team. Brady was the one that kept that team together, that talked to the players when things needed to be discussed or things needed to be changed. Brady was the one that did that. Belichick, I don't think he has the ability to do that with today's player, and there's a disconnect there, and because of that disconnect, it's showing up obviously on the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's cursed.
I think
it's
you're
the
absolutely
Brady
right.
curse. I'm telling you, it's the Brady curse.
That's the old school Brady with a new school, new school players. It's not going to work. You're not going to be mumbling at players. You're not going to be screaming cursing players out. I'm not sure, what his coaching style is, but I remember meeting Belichick in Phoenix, Arizona, and tried to talk to him, and he was like, I was like,
Is he an
hey,
introvert?
coach.
Is he an introvert?
Yeah,
He's an
he
introvert.
seemed, he seemed that way.
Yeah.
He seemed that
I've
way.
seen him on the golf course, not in person, but I've seen a video of him on the golf course, just I guess relaxing or playing golf, and he seemed to be a little loose. Then I was a
Yeah.
little bit surprised because most of the time he's real stoic and staunchy and real stiff.
Yeah.
But and he deals with the press like that. But I guess he had he showed a little personality in that particular video. But I just think his time is. I think his time is up. I think he
Yeah, I think
needs,
so.
as a
So-
head coach, his time is done. Maybe go back to being a defensive coordinator or something like that.
So everybody say that he's gone after the season.
I would fire him. Either fire him or hire him as a
Have him
defensive
resign?
coordinator. No, hire him as a defensive coordinator and hire somebody else as the head coach.
I
Bring
think
somebody
he'll give
new
him
in.
But you
Give
think
him one more
he'll
year.
take a defensive coordinator job
Yep,
after? You really?
I
I
do.
don't think so.
I do.
He's not gonna take it.
I do.
No,
Watch.
Bill Belichick is going to answer to another head coach. I don't see it.
The relationship wouldn't be so much that he would have to answer to the head coach. He would be like an assistant head coach,
Why don't you just
defensive
say, make
coordinator.
him a consultant? Make him a consultant.
That
You got a better shot with that. Make him a
whatever you
consultant.
want to call
Defensive
it.
consultant.
Whatever you want to call it. I believe he's still a genius defensively. I think he's there and qualified and capable of putting together a defensive scheme, watching film and understanding what the talent is he has defensively and making sure those guys are put in positions to do what they do best to be effective as a defense. I think he's still capable of that. I just don't think the personal part where you've got to be able to connect and communicate effectively with your players. I think he can't do that with
can't do
and
it.
that's not a coordinator's job. That's a head coach's job.
He's tired, boss. He's tired. Okay, I'm gonna give you my
tired.
biggest surprise.
He
Here's my
tired,
biggest
Biggest
surprise.
surprise.
Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bengals over Buffalo. You know what? I can't figure Buffalo out. It's just driving me nuts.
Richard
I
Melton.
wasn't surprised, Mike.
We talking about Buffalo,
I
Richard
wasn't
Melton.
surprised.
Driving me nuts. The Dolphins, we'll get to them later, driving me nuts. It's just no consistency whatsoever.
Dolphins playing flag football.
But my biggest surprise is Cincinnati over Buffalo. You look at the Bengals now; they've won 4 in a row. 4 in a row. And here's the
Here they
thing.
come.
So I really, yes, because in the beginning of the year, I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm looking at Joe Burrow. I'm like, this team, they're done. I said they can't get it together. His calf's hurting. They're losing too many games early on, and I mean they've won 4 in a row. But so I looked
4 in a
at it
row.
and I'm like, okay, what's the problem with Buffalo? Here's what I think the problem is with Buffalo: no consistency, particularly their defense. Do you realize that their coach, their head coach, is also the defense coordinator? McDermott is the defensive coordinator,
I
and
knew
so
that.
he's trying to do both roles, which we know is extremely difficult, near impossible to do this day and age. To have both of those hats. In addition to that, here's the big missing piece. You know who the defensive coordinator was last year? Buffalo. Leslie Frazier.
That's this
Leslie
Frazier who took a year off.
Right.
Yes, sir. He decided
Took a year off.
just this year to take a year off. But guess what? In 2021, guess what their defense was ranked? Number 1. 2022, guess what their Buffalo's defense was ranked? Number 4. Right now, they're currently 17. I think that's what you're seeing. As much stuff is going on offense where Josh, we don't know what he's going to do. The defense is showing
No,
that
we
same
don't.
inconsistency. And part of
Josh
that
like
is, yeah, he's all over the place. So that's my biggest surprise. Buffalo's play against Cincinnati.
But you have to say too, now that we know for sure now that Burrows is not hurt anymore, and we know for sure that their failure to win or their lack of success early on was really because he was hurt.
Yes.
Because now he's not hurt, and we see a totally different team offensively,
Right. But
and
then
they're not
you're
bad
dealing
defensively at all.
But then
as
you're
well.
dealing with the
Go ahead.
scenario. You're dealing with the scenario. Okay, 80%. If my starter is at 70%, he's still
Yeah.
better than the backup at 100%. So they had to roll with Burrow at 70, whatever he was, 70%, 75%, until he got
take
himself well. Yeah, and you see the difference now. You do, because I thought, I thought they were just. I didn't know that, or I didn't think that was the reason that they were struggling earlier in the season, but evidently it was. And he's showing he's back on his feet, and they're going to try to make a run for this thing now that it's halfway through the season. Can y'all believe that? It's halfway through the season. My gosh, it seems like it just started.
Because right now, if I were to ask you who the backup quarterback is for the Bengals, bet you couldn't name him.
Ain't nobody know. Nobody knows who the backups are.
Exactly.
I bet you I can't either.
Name a backup quarterback on any team.
Any team.
Name the backup quarterback on the Miami Dolphins.
Don't know.
Yeah, number 17.
Somebody.
Yeah, number 17. Okay.
17.
I only know the backup quarterback on the Eagles, Marcus Mariota, and I had a conversation with somebody who used to train him, and he told me, he said, listen, they better hope he doesn't ever have to get in the game to win a game that's important, because he can't throw. He won the Heisman with his legs, not with his arm. He won the Heisman because of his legs. That cat cannot throw.
Wow.
Okay.
That hurt. All right, best performance by a wideout. I'll go first with this one, man. I got to go with Mr. Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lamb was running wide open and just begging for the ball at times. And yeah, I actually watched him. I was in the stands. I went and did a few events there at the game, and kept my eyes on him the majority of the game. And this cat, he was running some very crisp routes. Just kind of had, wanting the offense to put themselves on him and let him take it.
Mm-hmm.
11 catches, 191 yards. Of course, he didn't have a touchdown, but I'm like you, Herb. If I got 11 for 91, I got at least two. I got at least two. But this guy was running wide open, and I have to say too, when we talk about the win in the poll, it's like, okay, I have to attribute that lack of coverage as well, and lack of defensive line getting to Dak, because Dak at times had all the time in the world to throw the ball, and he burned him for 374 yards. But CeeDee Lamb did his thing, and he had me scared all game. And over the middle, down the sideline, corner routes. I think there was a fourth and 3 to 4th and 4. And I'm like, there's no way they stand on this field. They go out, they put CeeDee Lamb in the slot. Yeah, I think he gets Bradbury on a corner route, wide
17 yards,
unbelievable, wide open. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, man! He just had his way. I mean, it's like he was at a buffet. He was just taking anything he wanted. But CeeDee Lamb was my best performer.
I'm with you with CeeDee Lamb because he didn't have much help. I mean, Brandon Cooks is on the team. They threw to Brandon a couple of times. He made a couple of plays, but Gallup made a play or so. But everybody knew that CeeDee Lamb is the go-to guy, and yet the Eagles didn't stop him. They didn't stop him, even in the big moments. Like you said, that particular play you were talking about, when it was third, they needed a third down. They needed a first down. It was 3rd and 7 or so. It was 4th down. They needed that play, and they threw it to CeeDee Lamb, I'm like, how in the world does he catch the ball? You should have 2 people on him, because he's the only one that's been through. And they were kind of Hassan Reddick was putting some pressure on Dak, but because there was no push in the middle, Jalen Carter is hurt, and they usually get pushed in the middle with him, but because there was no push in the middle, Dak was able to step up and make Hassan miss a few times and buy some time for himself and deliver the ball down the field. But again, CeeDee Lamb, I said it at the beginning of the year, he was he's in my top 5. The cat knows how to run routes. He plays big in big moments. He did have a drop during that game, but he came through when they needed him most, everybody knowing that he was the one that was going to be targeted, and he still was able to get open. Again, some of it is because the Eagles defense, and the secondary is very vanilla. So
Yeah.
before the ball is snapped, if you know what the route combination is, you know where the holes are, and the quarterback can get rid of the ball. And it wasn't like people were contesting, the defensive backs were contesting some of these passes that CD was catching. He catching the ball wide open, taking 2-3 steps before somebody even touched him.
Right.
Oh, I tell you,
CeeDee
this
Lamb.
is going to be good. This is going to be good. The fact that both of you guys picked CeeDee Lamb, you guys pick the obvious all the time. Yeah, you just picked the obvious.
I didn't pick the obvious. I didn't
did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You
My
picked CeeDee
obvious
Lamb.
for the
He had
for
11
minute.
catches, 191 yards. What are you talking
Wait a
about?
minute.
the Minnesota Vikings were not the obvious. That was
I'm
not an
talking
obvious
about this
pick.
category. I'm talking about this, this category.
I don't always do that. I picked the guy that came back after having surgery or whatever he did. He never played before. Go back and watch the
What have you
film.
done for me lately? What have you done
We're
lately?
going to throw the red flag. Let's go back and watch the film.
So here's the thing, Fred. I'm glad you
obvious.
asked. There has to be a criteria somewhere, and the criteria for me, if you're going to be the wide receiver of the week, you got to get in the end zone. You got to get in the end zone. You both of you have said it. He didn't score a touchdown. He was wide open. He was running by himself. They weren't doubling him. You got to get in the end zone to be the top pick.
But wait, Mike. That's the defense, though. The defense is set to keep him from getting in there, so they play back and play an umbrella.
Hold your horses. Stop. Will you stop? They ain't umbrella him all day. Stop. Just stop. Just stop. So here's the thing. So my wide receiver of the week is the Houston Oilers, Texans, is Tank Dell. Tank Dell had 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Six catches for 114 yards. No, it's not 11. But again, my thing is you got to get in the end zone. You got to get in the end zone. Tank Dell, 2 touchdowns on a win. In a win, he got in the end zone to help his team succeed. So that's my pick of the week, and that's why there's some distinction there. That's my pick.
Well, my distinction for
CeeDee
Lamb. Well, my distinction for CeeDee Lamb is that he doesn't have 2 other guys catching 100 yards in balls. He was the only one. That's and that's why I picked him at the beginning. That's why I picked him at the beginning of the year, because it was the same last year for him. Last season, he was the only one catching balls, and he still was able to, get his 1,000 yards.
And they're not doubling him. He should get in the end zone. They're not even doubling him.
They're not trying.
doubling him.
The defense for the Eagles tries to keep people in front of them. That's their concept. Let them catch the ball in front of us, keep them out the end zone. Just like the last play of the game, where he caught the ball, but he didn't get in the end zone. They kept him in front of him.
They had to get in the end zone to win the game at that point.
Right.
But to your point, that's exactly what gave them a good performance against, in my opinion, the Dolphins. They just kept them in front of them.
Right.
They all the motions and all the whatever the razzle dazzle stuff, the flag football stuff they do. They just wasn't occupied themselves with what they were doing in the backfield, and they just kept everything in front of them. Defense. So
right.
Cool. Okay, so is that going to be the criteria from now on? If they don't have a touchdown, they can't be the receiver of the week if they don't have a touchdown.
No. That's just for me and my list.
Okay.
I can't speak for you two. That's just for my list. I have to have something to distinguish the best performance for that week, and you got to get in the end zone to be my top guy. That's just for me.
So if you don't have a touchdown, there's no way you can be a receiver of the week.
Unbeknownst to you two, I've been doing
That's
that.
a yes or no. That's a yes or no. That is a yes or no.
You're not going to be number one. You're not going to be number one. You got to get in the end zone.
15 catches. Puka Nacua, 15 catches, 220 yards, no touchdown. No.
What did Chris Carter say? What did Chris Carter say?
All I do is catch touchdowns.
All I do is what?
Catch touchdowns.
Amen.
Oh, yeah. That's Chris. All right, top 5 in the league this week.
Let
me start. Mike. Oh, you want to go?
No. I want to read what Richard Melton is saying. Richard, the Buffalo fan. But he says, let me see if I can put it up there. If it'll come on the side right there. Yeah, you guys.
I'm laughing
already. See that or not. Joe Burrow throwing soft passes and check downs on Bills' third string secondary. And yes, Buffalo, our own issues, not because those teams are better than Buffalo. Well, if the team is better, if Buffalo is better, how come Buffalo ain't winning?
Ain't winning, yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't tell us nothing that we didn't know. I mean, what about
I know. I was waiting for
what
something
about
like
the defense?
Richard, tell us something we don't already know.
Yeah, what about the defense? Okay, so hey, I'll give you my top 5 because this is gonna be interesting because God knows what your top 5 are. All right, number 5.
All right.
Number 5, T. Higgins, 8
Oh.
catches, 116 yards, 0 touchdowns.
Boy,
Look at the pattern now.
Shouldn't
Number
be in your
4.
top 5. Go ahead.
look at the
Hold
pattern
on, hold
now.
on.
Look at the
Hold
pattern.
on. Number 4, CD Lamb, 0 touchdowns. Number 3, Amari Cooper.
That's
He scored a
a dude.
touchdown.
That dude's
Amari
bad.
Cooper. There you go. Number 2, Noah Brown, 25 yards a shot, 6 catches for 153 yards in the win with Houston. And the number 1 is the guy that I mentioned earlier, Tank Dell, 2 touchdowns, 19 yards a pop. So that's my top 5. And why number 4 and number 5? They're number 4 and 5 because they ain't getting in the zone. They ain't getting in the end zone, Fred. So that's why they're 4 and 5. Okay.
Okay.
I can't wait to hear y'all.
Okay. Well,
Can't wait.
I got the same 5, but it's mixed up. Of course, you know who's at the top. I got T. Higgins at number 5, and you spit out his stats 8-4. I got 110. I don't know. We reading something different here, but I got Tank. No, I got Noah Brown. 6 catches, 153, of course. And Noah Brown not exactly, but he was along with Tank Dell at Houston. You know, of course, we mentioned C.J. Stroud throwing for 470 yards. And then I got Tank Dell at number 3.
What?
Well, we know
Wow.
I got Tank Dell at number 3. And my criteria is different. I got Amari Cooper, 5 catches, 139 yards, and I got CD. That's my number 1. I just think
you got number 1 and number 2, and neither one of them got in the end zone. But that's your criteria. That's your criteria.
Criteria. I mean, I'm not to say that you didn't see the game different than I did, but for me to sit in the stands, I'm telling you guys, I'm watching this cat.
And watch him, yeah.
I'm sitting there watching CD Lamb, and there were times when he was wide open when Dak didn't even come to him, y'all. And I don't know if it's like, hey, he got hyped to play the Eagles, but at the same time, too, we know that he is an all-pro wide receiver. But this cat was wide open more than half the time. And, was it the offensive scheme, or was it the hype to play the Eagles? Was it the Eagles defensive back? Of course, the defensive line didn't get the pressure that they thought they would get. But
there you go.
I'm almost certain that teams who are going to play the Eagles from now would look at this film against Dallas, and if that defensive line don't put pressure on the quarterback, they're going to have some success against that defensive back.
They rush the same 4 in the same spot. They come in the same plate. I'm telling you, there's nothing that a quarterback has to think about.
But you know what's surprising? The first round pick Carter. I mean, he's not making any noise. He's not doing anything.
He's hurt. He's not playing right now. He's hurt. He's not. When he was in, he was leading the league in pressures, but he's been hurt. He's getting plenty of push. He was actually getting all. They have like a get off calculation they do. He gets all better than anybody else in the league. He was putting up better numbers than anybody else in the league. He was leading the league in several categories. But then he got hurt, and he's been down for like 3 games now.
I thought he played.
He's been down for the last 3 games. Prayerfully, he'll be back. I mean, I think he'll be back once they get through the bye, and they play the game against Kansas City. But he's a difference maker. He's a difference maker. Yeah. And again, my reason for CD Lamb being a formidable receiver, or one of my favorite receivers, is because he doesn't have any help, and he gets all of this done in big games when everybody knows he's going to get the ball. He still gets open, still makes the catches, still puts up numbers. So my number 5 is Tank Dell, Houston. 2 TDs, Mike. 6. He had a 19-yard average. 2 TDs, 6'4", 111. My number 4 is the other cat on the team. He's a tight end, but it's Dalton Schultz. He's still a receiver.
Will you stop putting the tight ends with the wide outs?
Would
Will
you-
you stop
This
that?
is wide outs world.
We talk about
Wide-
quarterbacks. We talk about
wide
10
out
for
world.
130 in a TD. Amari Cooper is my number 3. I like Amari Cooper. Matter of fact, that's why CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb, because when Amari Cooper left Dallas, they didn't think that CeeDee Lamb was a starting receiver, that he'd be able to carry the load, but he's doing a phenomenal job. So Amari Cooper had 27.8 yard average, 5 receptions, 139 yards, 1 TD against Arizona in a blowout, 27-0. Noah Brown is my number 2. 1 TD, 25.5 yard average in his catch, 6 for 153. And my number 1 is CeeDee Lamb, 11 for 191 and 0 touchdowns.
Y'all killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me.
but I don't look at the touchdowns, Mike. In this
Y'all look at
in this
numbers.
situation,
Y'all looking at numbers. Period.
Well,
Y'all
in
looking
this,
at numbers.
no, it's not just the numbers.
No,
it's the fact that he's literally by himself out there playing the receiver position. So he's running routes against 7 defenders, catching balls when they know he's going to get the ball, but he still does it. That's why. And he puts up numbers like this. That's why he's my number 1 guy this week.
Okay. All right. We're gonna let it ride. Let it ride.
All right, let it ride. Let it ride. So, Thursday night, it may be a boring night. My God.
No, it's going to be a boring night.
Maybe a boring night. We got 1-7 Carolina. Against
Did the Bears win the last time Mike picked the Bears? Did they win?
Chicago Cubs.
Mike, you picked the Bears for some game a while ago, and did they win? You said
I don't
because
think they
you know
did. I don't
because
remember.
tradition.
I don't remember gloating about it, so I don't think they won.
Okay, you said because of tradition, and I just know how much pride they have and
I don't
all that
think-
kind
I
of
don't
stuff. They went out there and lost.
Yeah, I don't think. They went out
To
the
tell you the
window.
truth, I mean, when I think of the two wins that they have is against Vegas and Washington. They put up well, of course they had the number 1 quarterback in when they played Washington. They put up 40 points. 40 points.
Well,
But they
you
just
know what?
lost.
No, go ahead.
They just lost to New Orleans, 24-17. So, but I just feel like this is a reset button for Carolina, and that whoever that number 1 draft pick is, they probably gonna be a Panther. And I don't see Carolina winning this game. As a matter of fact, I see Chicago winning by 14.
You know what, Fred? I agree with you as far as the Bears winning. There is no O-line. Like I said earlier, Bryce Young just does not have any help. O-line is they're ninth highest in allowing pressure. They're ninth highest in the league. They got no playmakers. They rely on the short passes. What is it? Adam Thielen is his name. He's the only one that's really been doing anything halfway significant, but it's a lot of short passes. They're in the top 5 in the league in completions in 5-yard passes, but that's not going to get you into the end zone. That's not going to get the ball downfield. Then Brian Burns, he's the number 1 pass rusher. He's out. He has concussion. So they're not going to be able to put pressure on the opposing offense like they had in the past. And then, the Bears just acquired Montez Sweat from Washington. So now they got a formidable pass rusher. And he led the team in pressure in his debut last week, his first game with the team. They got him in the trade. DJ Moore been doing a good job. His former team's the Panthers, so he's going to be wanting to put up some good numbers against his former teammates. And Justin Fields is out, but the rookie, Tyson Bagent or Bagent? Bagent.
Him.
He's been doing okay. But I just
3 interceptions last game. Just stop.
I said okay.
3.
I said okay. He's a rookie. Isn't he rookie?
What's your criteria on him, Mike?
I said he's well. Look, Jalen Hurts been throwing a lot of interceptions too.
Yeah.
So
Badgett is a rookie.
But I'd have to take the Bears in this game. They're 2-7. The Panthers are 1-7. It's a toss up, but if I had to go with one, I'll go with the Bears. And I'm just going to. It's going to be a 3-point game. It's not going to be a big difference. It's going to be because these teams, they both got problems. They both have issues, and they're struggling right now, big time.
Man, I'm not going to watch this game. I'm going to get the Christmas tree out of storage. I'm not. I mean, this is just no. I mean, I can't even give you a pick on this one. What happened to Fred?
I don't know what happened to Fred. Okay,
Fred got to pay his phone bill.
Fred back.
His phone bill.
No, he came in. I have him twice on my screen. He came in again. He must have went out. Okay, he went back out. Okay, I got to assign him to see. Guess 2. Come on, Fred.
Calling Fred. All right, Fred.
Now he's muted. He done muted himself. Come on in, Fred. See, this is what happens.
Come on in the room.
When you don't have pristine internet. He'll come back.
I would say that if he was in Bermuda, but he in Philly.
No, he in Philly, yeah. He in
Philly. There you go.
There he is. What you doing, man?
There you go.
Are you in the hotel? What happened?
No, my wife's trying to call me, man. I'm like, come on.
You gotta put your phone on what do they call it? Airplane mode. When you're doing podcast, you gotta put your phone on airplane mode.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I got a new criteria for doing my show now.
Airplane mode.
Airplane mode. So the Panthers and the Bears, that's a push for me. I'm not even interested in even giving you a pick because both of them
Really, that's your old team, man. You're not gonna cheer for your old team?
Yeah, man. I mean,
you had some good years there, bro. You had some good years.
Here's my criteria.
About the Bears 2-0.
Give me
Here we go with this criteria again.
Hey, give me a good game. I mean, just
it's not gonna be a good game.
Exactly. So I'm not interested. I told you.
I'm not watching.
Fred, I said I'm going to get the tree out of storage.
I'm not going. Look, you know what I'm gonna do? Me and my wife gonna sit. We're not gonna watch the game. We're gonna watch our recorded episodes of The Voice. We're gonna go back and watch The Voice, the shows we haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
we're not gonna watch them.
I think I'm gonna go to the cigar lounge. Just hang out.
Cigar lounge. Stu Winrow, what's going on? Richard Melton's in the house. Vinny Capriati is still in the house. And Angelo D. Ortiz is in the house. We got a few viewers tonight.
Hey,
that's all right.
Before we wrap up, I want to give you something, Fred, and not Fred. You, Irv, Dr. Irv. I'm gonna give you something. I'm put my cheaters on to read this.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Okay.
Cheaters. I got my cheaters on.
You got his cheaters on.
You mentioned CeeDee Lamb. I'll tell you something. I went and looked at his stats. He said he shows up in the big games.
Yeah.
When he took the L with Arizona, 7 catches for 53 yards. When he took the L with San Francisco, 5 catches for 49. Well, actually 4 catches for 49 yards. And so
he doesn't get no help.
What you said, it doesn't matter whether he's getting help or not. He's balling.
No, I said he showed up in the big game.
Well, I'm telling you a couple of them right now. He ain't showing up. So we're going to give him a shot. I'm going to watch him.
Yeah, watch him.
That's your pick. That's your guy. Okay. We're going to watch.
All right.
That's all. I just want this for the record.
Well, wait a minute. When you were playing for the Bears, Mike, you were the number 1 receiver on that team, correct?
No, I wasn't.
Who was the number 1 receiver?
They had Curtis Conway. Curtis Conway was number 1.
He was, you were better
I'm just telling you, he was number 1 pick. He was the number 1 guy. How
long did he play?
He put maybe 10 years in.
Did he put 10 years in? Really?
Yeah. I think he put about 10 years.
All with the Bears? No, they weren't all with the Bears, were they?
Don't quote me on that one. Don't quote me on that one.
Curtis Conway.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good receiver. So there you go. So it's all good. I'm just gonna watch CeeDee Lamb. I like CeeDee Lamb.
So we gotta watch CeeDee Lamb.
But I just some big games. Sometimes he hadn't showed up.
Yeah,
because he don't have no help.
But that happened. Okay, but you just said even if he didn't have help, he's putting up numbers.
He is. He's putting up numbers. He is putting up numbers. He is putting up numbers.
He ain't have no help. Well, you can't say he have no help.
Just because he a couple of games he didn't catch 15 balls, that doesn't mean he's not putting up numbers.
Okay, so we're gonna see when it counts. When it really counts.
It counted last week.
They lost. Stop counting
they lost.
when they lost, and he doesn't get in the end zone.
But it wasn't his fault. It was
It wasn't
first of
Dax
all,
either. It wasn't Dax either.
what?
CeeDee Lamb is sitting right now the number 5 receiver in the league.
Okay.
Dak,
But 800
Dak
820.
should not have stepped out of bounds, first of all. Secondly, the tight end should have run that route into the end zone and caught the ball in the end zone. You don't run a red zone route like that, running out, and you run shallow of the end zone line. You go into the end zone. You're supposed to be in there. No, you're supposed to know where you, just like Dak thought he was in bounds. You're supposed to know where you are on the field. You've been running 40 yards. You've already been running 40 yards, so how you not know where you are on the field?
Gotta ask him, but they showed him.
Just like that.
How do you not know? How do you not know where you are on the field? He didn't have to run out of bounds.
That's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they're
That's the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys are snake bitten. That's their problem.
They out in the desert, snake bitten.
Yeah, snake bitten.
Speaking of snake bitten, that's a wrap for us at White House World. Join us next week. I'm your host, Fred Barnett, with Irvin Fry and Michael Timpson. We will see you next week. Catch you next week. How about that one?
Catch you next week.
Now you're
cooking
with grease. You're cooking with grease.
A new criteria.
New criteria. We out.
Catch you.